guys, it's Yana here today, and today we're working on the Emmeline pattern, gathered dress pattern by Copper Creek Patterns. I actually wanted to make a simple gathered dress, and I saw this dress and I thought so cute, and I actually wanted to make the maxi, and I started cutting out. That's what I really wanted. That's why I went for this pattern, because it's got a maxi style and it looked really cute. And I started cutting my fabric and I realized I did not have enough for the maxi skirt. So because I had already cut it, I'm going to make the to the knee length with this pattern, with this fabric, which is perfect for spring. And then this is gonna be like my tester trial to see exactly the fit and see how much I love it. And then I'll be able to buy more fabric and create the dress that I so wanted to create. So make sure that you follow me on Instagram at Ezra so you can see the next dress once I actually get the fabric, the correct amount of fabric, and sew it up. So we're gonna sew up this dress. Again, it's a quick and easy sew. I love bringing quick and easy sews to you because sometimes I feel like sewing seems like this daunting task, but it really isn't. You can do it, and we can do it together. And one of the things about this pattern is that it's got a couple of things that they're good to learn, which are darts, and it also has elastic at the waistband. So we're gonna go ahead and gather with elastic, clear elastic on this video. So this is something that'd be really helpful for later on if you're making a dress that has clear elastic, to learn how to do it now. So let's get started. All right, my pattern has already been cut out. Now, another thing that I didn't tell you was the fact that I almost ran out of fabric. And so what I did is I had to cut the back piece into 2 pieces. So this is another cool thing to learn, another hack to learn, what to do when your fabric is running low and you kind of have to manipulate the fabric, and then you end up having to cut the pattern. Instead of cutting it on the fold, you got to cut it in two mirror pieces. So you need to make sure that the first thing you do is when you're cutting a pattern into, not on the fold, but into 2 pieces, the first thing you need to do is you have to make sure that the fabric is mirroring each other. So I'm going to go ahead and pull out that fabric and show you what I'm talking about. So here is my skirt, and I've got one piece cut out here, and then when I went to cut my other piece, I had to make sure that it's going to be facing each other like this, and then I cut it out in the same manner so that they're facing each other. And I don't want to cut it opposite of each other like this. This pattern looks like it's pretty similar, so it would have been okay, but for a lot of patterns it might not be, depending on what it is that you're cutting. And if you don't cut it mirrored, like facing each other, then you're gonna have like a weird shape on it. It's not gonna be what you need, because this is the fold right here, so it'd be like you're folding the fabric in half. Okay, so because I did that, what I have to do to this skirt first is to go ahead and sew that back seam. So what I did when I was cutting this back piece, this 2 back pieces, I actually added a 1/4 inch seam allowance to the edge here with the fold would be. That way I can go ahead and sew them together, and this would be my back piece, and my back piece is gonna have that seam right down the back. And you know, it's not ideal, but that's what happens when you don't plan your fabric ahead of time, and that's okay. So I will be sewing this together first, so that's my first step. And you probably won't have that step because I'm sure you planned ahead before you actually sew. Now, like I said, one of the things that this pattern has is the darts. So when I was cutting out the pattern, I went ahead and marked my darts right here. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna grab where that dart is. I'm gonna go to the dart, and I'm gonna put a pin on one side of the dart on the wrong side of the fabric and come out to the other side of the dart, and then kind of fold that fabric over, match it up right here at the bottom, the 2 ends of the dart. Dart 1 and dart 2 right here. And then I'm going to fold that pin over and go over the mark, and then come out the other side of the other mark of the dart. So here's over that, this side is over that side of the dart, and then this side is over that side of the dart. And I'm going to do that one more time a little bit lower, and that helps guide me when I do my darts. It's so much easier. So open, go over there, turn over, and then come right back over to the other side of the dart. And then when you open it up, oh, let me fix that. This fabric is so thin, which will be nice for spring, but it's sometimes a little flimsy to sew. Okay, so there is the dart pinned right here, and it is pinned right here. So when I go to my sewing machine, we're gonna start from this edge here, from the bottom edge, and we're gonna do a straight stitch. And as we get close to come out here, we're gonna change our stitch length. We're gonna make it a little bit shorter, and we're gonna come right out here, the top, and then leave a tail that later we're gonna go ahead and tie, and that's how we will finish up that dart. And I'm gonna do the same on the other dart. Alright, so those are prepped and ready to go sew. As I like to prep everything to sew together, I'm going to go ahead and grab my back bodice. And once I sew that the darts, we're gonna grab our back bodice and we're gonna place it right on top of our front bodice. So front and back bodice, right sides together here at the shoulder, and we're gonna sew that together here. And so I'm gonna do the dart and the shoulders. All right, so again, I'm gonna start the dart here at the bottom, and I'm gonna go, it's a regular stitch length, and then I'm gonna go up, all the way up to almost till the end of the dart right here where it's supposed to come out. When I get close to the end, I'm gonna lower my stitch length, and then I'm gonna come right out and leave a little tail where I'm going to I'm going to tie this off at the end. And I'm just gonna do like a little tiny knot. It's not gonna be a tight knot. It's just so it doesn't come unraveled, but you don't want it to be tight because you don't want this to pucker and look weird. So just a little knot, and then I'm gonna cut it off at the end. And I'm gonna do the same for the other side. All right, now we're gonna work on pockets. So I'm gonna put this aside for a minute. I love the darts, they turned out so well. And oh shoot, I forgot to sew the back of the skirt. Okay, we're gonna do pockets and the back of the skirt at the same time because I totally forgot. All right, so on your pattern piece, you have the markings where your pocket's supposed to go. And I didn't mark my pattern, but I did measure my pattern piece just to make sure. And it's like, for me, it's like about 2.5 inches down from the top. So I'm gonna measure 2.5 inches down from the top, which is what my size of the pocket says. And then I'm going to place my pocket right sides down to my pattern piece, to my skirt. So I'm gonna do this to the skirt front and back on each side because I want pockets on both sides. I'm not always a pocket person, but we're gonna try a pocket on this one because this is my trial version, and so we're gonna do everything and see how I like it so that when I make my real maxi dress, I will know if I want pockets or not. So anyway, facing it down, and we're gonna go with a straight stitch, so all the way down the pocket right here. So we're gonna probably back stitch here and here just so we can get it sewn on. So there's one side, and so on the other side, we'll do the same thing. So we have our fabric here at the end. We're gonna measure from the top 2.5 inches down. And our pocket's gonna be facing down to our fabric. And it's like a teardrop shape, and it's going down towards the inside, like bloop. That's how the pockets look. I'm gonna place it right here. And we're going to sew it on this side. And we gotta do this for the front and the back of the skirt, and that way you'll have 2 pockets. So we're gonna go sew that on with a straight stitch, and I'm gonna also step over to my serger and sew the back of that skirt when I made that mistake, because I forgot to do that. Make sure that you're attaching the pockets to the top of the skirt and not the bottom. And I actually here, not on that side I guess, just on this side, I marked my pocket by doing like a little notch. So I mark where my pocket's supposed to start, which is 2.5 inches, see that? So I was right. I was right. All right, so now we're moving on, and we sewed those 2 sides of the pockets, and you can go ahead and steam that seam out open here where the pocket is. And what you can do is you can steam that allowance towards the pocket, and then you can top stitch the pocket seam allowance to the pocket if you want to. That's called understitching. I'm not gonna do it because I don't really usually love doing that because I'm always afraid it's gonna make the pocket all wiggly, so I don't do it. Another thing I wanted to mention here is that this would be a great way if you had a dress that needed pockets that you already have. This could also be a way to put a pocket in, so you would just cut out that seam allowance on the side and place, make yourself a pattern for a pocket, or grab this pattern and use this pattern, pocket pattern, and then you would just sew it just like I'm doing here. So that would be a good thing. And that's a video I have coming here soon. I just haven't finished it yet. All right, so we're gonna lay out our skirt, and this is one side, and then I'm gonna place the other one right sides together right on top, and you'll see, I should have steamed it that way, yeah. And you'll see that it will place, you're gonna place them right sides together here, and we're gonna start here at the top, and we're going to sew down around the pocket. This is when the understitching would come in handy because here my stitching is sticking up. I gotta steam it. I'll do that before I get over there. And go all the way around the pocket, sewing it together, down, around, and then here I would come out. Make sure I have my allowances sticking out so I can grab it. We would go around and down to the bottom of the dress, and we're going to do that on both sides to create that skirt. All right, while I'm doing that, I'm also going to finish up my bodice, which I don't know why I didn't do this when I did the sleeves. I guess because I was doing the darts, yeah. We're going to sew the sides, right sides together here at these sides. While I'm there, I'm also going to prep my sleeves by grabbing them and facing them right sides together at that short raw edge because they get attached on the round. All right, let's go do all that. If for some reason your pocket gets a little uneven like you did here, that's okay. You just want to go into the inside of the pocket so you catch both of them. This needs to be over that way. Push my seam allowance that way because I forgot to steam it. Don't forget to steam it because that makes a big difference. And then turn around and come the other way. All right, here we go. I've got some clear elastic here. I got this, my clear elastic from Wall Walk or Wall Walk. I call it Wall Walk. And so it's a 1/4 inch clear elastic and it is super stretchy. I'm gonna show you how I'm gonna use it. I've got my pockets in, pockets, why are you pockets? Pockets in. Okay, so I've got my pocket there and I've got my skirt. This is the front of my skirt. I'm gonna put it right here for a second. I've got my bodice and I've got my bodice sewn up to the sides. And I can go ahead and put the sleeves in, or I can wait a minute for that. And then we can prep the neckband, which I could have already done, probably should have already done, because then I'd be attaching it now and I'd be done with the bodice. But we'll do this now. I'm gonna grab the neckband and I'm gonna place it right sides together at the short raw edge, and I'm gonna sew that right there with a stretch stitch to prep the neckband. And I'm gonna put it aside. When we come back, we'll put the neckband on and the sleeves, because the neckband will be ready. I'm gonna put it over here. Now we're gonna work on gathering the bodice, gathering the skirt to fit the bodice. I'm gonna place my skirt right in front, right on top of my bodice here. So here's my bodice, and we're going to gather this skirt to fit the bodice, just like so, right? And how I'm gonna use the clear elastic is this way. So first I'm gonna leave about 1 inch off at the beginning, and so I'm just gonna mark where I'm gonna start. So that's my starting point, and I'm just using some Sharpie, and I'm gonna put that right there at the beginning, and I'm gonna go all the way. You wanna make sure that this is right. I'm gonna go all the way to the corner of the dress, so like so, right here. And I'm also going to mark my half, which I have a notch here for my half, so I'm gonna mark that that's my half of my elastic. So now it's quartered 1, 2, 3, and I'm missing one more quarter. I'm gonna go around this way. Or at least you get some more out. All right, the beginning, then the middle, right there the mark, then the side mark here, right? And then we're gonna fold over, and here's the other middle. So we're gonna mark that. Don't mark my table, I marked my table. It's okay. And then we're gonna go all the way down to the end. This is my end mark. Beginning and end mark. Make sure I can see it. The reason why I do it with this marker is because you really can't put a pin in there. I mean, you can, but it's kind of flimsy, so I just mark it like this. Then I'm gonna grab my skirt, and I already have my marks. Here's the front and here's the back. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna grab this clear elastic, and we're gonna start here at the back, and I'm going to sew this clear elastic onto my skirt. And I actually like to sew it to the outside of the skirt, and the reason why I do that, I have people ask me that, is because I don't want the clear elastic to be, I don't want to be able to feel the clear elastic at all. So I like to do it on the outside, and then I'll encase it between the two, like when I attach the bodice to the skirt, it will get encased in there because it's a 1/4 inch elastic, so it'll get encased when I take my seam allowance. So here's the back of the skirt, which I have a mark because remember I made a mistake, so I sewed them together. And I'm gonna place this elastic here, and this is gonna be my start. Then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna stretch my elastic to the next 1/4 point, which will be my side seam here. I'm gonna stretch my elastic to this point when I'm sewing it, and that's going to gather this up. I'm gonna show you that on the sewing machine. So we're gonna go ahead and do that on my sewing machine, and I'm gonna use a stretch stitch, like a zigzag stitch. So I'm gonna go show you how I do that on my sewing machine, and also sew up my neckband here to prep. Let's go do that. Now the good thing about this is that it'll gather, and it also gives the dress stability at the waistline. So it's doing your two jobs as one, and I love, love, love this. I love gathering with clear elastic. So there's my mark, my beginning stitch. There's my mark and my beginning stitch. I'm gonna go like over it and come back, so my elastic's not gonna come off. I'm gonna switch my stitch to a zigzag stitch, and I'm gonna make it like the length of 2 and a width of like 4. We'll start there. Now I'm gonna go to, here's my mark, and here is my side, which is my first 1/4 point, and I'm gonna grab where that first 1/4 point is, and I'm gonna pull my elastic, just pull it taut to that place, to that stitch. Then we're gonna sew. Actually, I'm gonna make this stitch a lot longer, like a 4. Okay, I'm almost to that point. See how it is right here? There we go, and then we stop and we go to the next 1/4 point. But let me show you over here how this is finished. See that? It gathered for me and it's attached. So when I go sew, I'm gonna eat that 1/2 inch seam allowance here, and it's gonna eat that stitch. That stitch is gonna be sewn in, that elastic I mean. So let's keep going to the next 1/4 point. I do have a full tutorial on how to do this, more detailed tutorial here on my channel. So if you want more detail, you can go ahead and check that one out. Here at the end, we're just gonna come right over where I started. So that's gonna go right over here. And that's it. All right, now that clear elastic is done, all we gotta do to attach the bodice is to go ahead and attach it right sides together. So here's my bodice, right side out. I'm gonna grab, my dress, and I'm gonna fit it. But first, let's attach the other stuff, so that way we can do it all at once. Okay, to finish prepping our bodice, we're gonna grab let's do our sleeve first. We're gonna grab our sleeve, and my sleeve has a mark what my back is and what my front is. We're gonna turn it right side out. And we want to make sure that when we fit the sleeve into the bodice, the back, the right side of the fabric with the markings of the back touches the back of the dress. So we're gonna fit it right into the arm side. We're gonna match up those seams. And then if you marked your top, which I did, we're gonna match that up with the top of our shoulder. And we're gonna match up those raw edges. All right, now for our neckband, we're gonna grab our shoulders and touch them right sides together. We're gonna quarter our neckband. I love doing neckband. So we're gonna grab our neck area first, and then we're gonna quarter our neckband next. So we're gonna grab our shoulders, go to the front and mark that. I like to mark it by doing a little notch. And then grab your shoulders and mark the back. Then I'm going to go the front and the back. We're gonna match them together and we're gonna go to the side. Now I've got those marks right there. And we're gonna grab our neckband. We're gonna fold it wrong sides together. I have to stand up because my back was getting tired of sitting on a stool. So I am now standing up as I sew. All right, so now I've got the back here and I'm gonna go ahead and mark the front. Then I'm going to match up the front and back and go to the sides. That leads me to the next question. How do you sew? Do you sit or do you stand? I was sitting down because I thought, you know, so I could get a good video. But I feel like maybe I need to tilt my camera up and do it standing up because my back is kind of tired of sitting. It's like, not used to this. I usually stand up when I sew. All right, and the other side here. All right, now I've got that quartered, and now I'm going to fit those quarters in. So the back seam here, I'm gonna match that up, and then the side seam here, one side, and the front, and then the other side. So then I'm gonna go to the sewing machine and sew that on. But I like to do everything at the same time. So I'm going to flip this right side out, if I can do it, with all the clips in there. That's one good thing about the clips is that they stay, so you can like move it around and they still stick to the bodice. And so it's not just gonna fall off. I am gonna mark the front and back of my bodice, that way I get a really nice, even thing here. And I'm gonna trim just this extra serger tail that I will be eating anyway with my skirt. Now I'm going to put my skirt right over. Remember, I have a line on my back, so I need to make sure that that stays on the back. And I'm gonna match up those notches. Here's the front, I'm gonna match up with the front. And it should match up evenly now because you gathered it already. And then the side, and then the back, and then the other side. And we're gonna stretch and sew that on. And the last step will be to hem. So then what I'll do is I'll go ahead and hem it up. Now I added extra length because I am taller than the patterns intended. So I'm not gonna hem right now. I'm gonna hem after I try it on. So because I did add a whole extra inch, and sometimes you have to add it, sometimes you don't. So I'm not really sure. So we're gonna look and see how it goes. Then I'm going to fold over, steam, and top stitch. So let's go do all that and we'll be done. I'm gonna start by sewing up the skirt to the bodice. You wanna make sure that your bodice and your skirt line up, and then I'm eating just a little bit, and so it's encasing that elastic in. You don't even have to stretch or nothing because you're just literally, it's already gathered for you. So you're just sewing it on. All right, now I can turn it out. Okay, you can see it's all sewn on and I can't even see that elastic. So I'm gonna actually turn it inside out again because I'm gonna sew the other pieces, like the sleeves and the neckband. If you want a better video on how to do necklines, I do have a full series on necklines that talks about how to measure necklines, how to sew them on, and all that stuff. So make sure you check it out. All right, friends, I tried on my dress and it fits pretty perfectly.
I want to do a little bit of a wider hem on it, and I'm going to use my cover stitch for hemming, and I'm just folding and steaming. If your fabric is really stubborn, you may want to add some clips or whatever, but my fabric is like a really light double brush poly, so just steaming will do the trick. So I'm gonna hem the bottom of the dress and hem the sleeves, and then we'll be done and I can show you what it looks like. I'm super excited. I think it looks super cute. I love the darts at the bust. It kind of brings it in. Well, I'll show you all about it once I'm done.
All right, friends, we are done with this dress. I think it turned out so fabulous. I love the shape that this dress gives. And because of the fact that it's got these beautiful darts here at the front, it kind of brings it in at the waist. And then because the skirt is not just a gathered skirt, it actually has some flare to it. It brings it in at the waist and then comes out again, which makes it super flattering. I love that. The fit is great. The pockets are really, really cute. I don't always love putting pockets on my dresses, but I kind of love this because it just gives a little bit of extra to this dress. I think this is going to be the perfect dress for me to do my maxi that I was looking for. And it also has another version. It's got a V-neck version. So if you wanted something with a little bit more of a fancier neckline or whatever, you could do the V-neck version. I do have a tutorial on here on how to do the V-neck, so if you want to check that out. But it turned out super cute. I'm definitely making more of these. It turned out perfect. I don't have anything that I'm like, oh, I'm gonna change this or that. I think this is what I'm going with. So let me know what you think. Comment below. Go grab this pattern. Come sew it up with me, and I'll see you next time. Don't forget to subscribe. Bye.